Hey gamers, today we're going to look at Heaven and Ale. Let's check it out. To set up the game, what you're going to do is each player is going to get their own little player board. Their colors denoted right here and of course right here. They're going to put the little brewer right here, and each one of their resource, I think it's barley, water, hops, rice, and wood. They'll put them in those areas that you see the colors on there. After that, each player will start with 25 bucks. They'll start with these little bonus cards that they'll play. Everyone has the same type of cards. The cards are denoted by the player's color there. You will also have your starter player right here in this area. To set up this track, you're going to put in these little icons here. Just going to shuffle a bunch of these tokens with the number 1 on them. Put one out in any of these sections. When the game goes to the second phase, you have these number 2 tokens that you'd be putting out as well. You're also going to put out little monks in the little areas where you see the little monk icons. Right now you're shuffling these. You're putting out the ones first, and at the end of every round you'll be putting out a stack of 4 more monks. You'll make 5 stacks of 4 monks each. Of course, the ones being played first and the number 2s being played in the last 3 rounds. You'll have these barrel tokens you'll put out in the middle of the board. You'll put the big barrel on top and then a smaller version of that barrel right here on the bottom of each one. Where you see the little purple icon here, you'll put this little purple token here. These are score markers here. You can score your player board on. And then you are set up and ready to go. Now this game is very simple. You're going to have some, I should also mention, you're going to have some coins here. You're going to have there's a whole bag of these, but I just put a few out there. And you're going to have these field tokens out that you're going to put on your board eventually. They come in values of 0, 2, 3, and these are double-sided, so they could be 1 or 4 as well. So you're going to have all these probably in an area over to the side where you pull from. Same thing with the coins and of course the stacks of money over there. Now the game plays very similar to Francis Drake, as in you can move anywhere around this space in a clockwise fashion as far as you want to go, but you may never move back. So for instance, the yellow player could move here and grab this one, or instead move all the way down here and grab this one. It doesn't matter. They can go as far as they want to. It's just that when you reach the end of the round, you have to stop right there and claim. There's 4 little spaces you can claim. Claim one of those spaces and then wait for the other players to finish their turn until everyone gets to the end, and then you would start the next round. So how it works, the first thing you would do, of course, one of the things you can do is grab one of these tokens. They represent the 5 icons, resources in the game, and you would place this and plant this in your field. And you have 2 types of fields here. You have the day side and the night side. Now it's cheaper to place things on the night side because all you have to pay is the face value of the token. So this says 5. So if I want to place it on the night side, I would pay $5. Now this money, it does seem to be cards, but it's very thick card stock too, so it's actually really good. But over here, if I was to plant this in the day, I would have to pay double the amount. So instead of paying 5, I would have to pay 10 to the bank. Now I'll explain why you'd want to put it in the day or night in a little while, but let's say he went ahead and put it in the night. So as each player is moving around the board, they're grabbing up tokens, moving around the board, and they'll be placing, different pieces on their player board. Other things you can place on the player board are these monks right here. So when you land on the monk, the cost for that monk to plant him in your field is printed on the board. So if you grab the first monk available, that'd be 4. He costs $4. This would be 3, 2, and 1. Of course, that number's doubled if you put them out in the sunny side of your fields. And finally, the other thing you can get are these score markers here. Now, in the very first position, it says, hey, this is the A score, this is B, this is C, and these 3 are all the above. It can be A, B, or C. So let me show you how you're going to be scoring some fields. Let's say that this player was putting out, let me grab a few more things here and say he's putting out all of this here, and that's what he had. And the first thing he did on his next turn, let's say, is he went over here, maybe this is the second round, and he picked this. He said, okay, I'm going to pick this. Now he has to put it at this top area here that matches the icon on the board. When he does that, he can pick a number, and all the tiles of that number would activate. So in this case, he'd probably want to do 5. As you see, he has 2 5s here and another 5 here. So when he does that, on the dark side, as you see at the bottom, you get money. And over on the light side, you get movement of your resources up this track here. So over here, both these 5s would equal $10, so you get $10 from the bank. That's how you can get money in the game, is by cashing on the night side. But cashing on the day side, this 5, he gets to move any one of these 5 spaces or a combination of them. So for instance, you could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and move resources up like so. Now another way you can score is with the B token. When you use the B token, or one of these all the aboves, you can place this on any one of the 4 monks. There are 4 different types of monks in the game. One looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi, one has a pink background, one has a white background, one has a brown background, but you can basically tell the difference, and they're all printed here on the board. And let's say that I had gotten this white one and I had placed him here, let's say. Okay, so if I were to take the B purple action here, then I could place it over this white one since I have one. Now if I had other white ones in the game, all the white monks would activate, but in this case I only have one white monk. So I would activate any tiles that are around or touching that white monk, which in this case would be good again. It would generate me another $10 and another 5 movements of the board. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm really getting things moving up here. But anyway, that's how you would cash in. Now once you cash in on any of these, you can only cash in on them once. In the rest of the game, you'd have to use something else when cashing in. Now the C action will let you cash in on a resource, and let's say that I took the C action with my purple token. Now I can score any one of the 4 resources. Well, obviously this hops here I may want to score, so I'd put it right there, and I could score all the green tokens this round. So that would give me $5 here, since that's on the night side, and here it'd give me 8 movement points here. So again, I can move these any way I wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Woohoo! And I'll explain the difference of what all this means here on the track at the end of the game. This is in-game scoring. But anyway, you're going to be moving up your resources and gaining money that way. And of course, any one of these A, B, and C tokens, you can put them anywhere here. Now, when you complete a section, as you see, these are divided into sections of 2s each. When you do that, you also get another bonus action. You can use one of your 5 cards in the game and play it next to that and get that action, or get that bonus in the game. And these are fairly simple, but I'll go over them real quick. This one gives you bonus points at the end of the game for every barrel you collect. This one lets you move your brewer up 5 spaces. So if I actually completed that, I would just play that there, and then I can move my brewer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one says, hey, for every field you plant, you get to move one of your resources up. So as the game goes along and I'm planting a few more, I also will be moving these up the track for each one that I plant on my field. The next one here says, hey, for every blue token you place here, move one of your resources up the action track. So if I scored another blue token, I can move one of my resources up the track there. Of course, this one's fairly simple. It gives you $12. And again, all players have the same 5 cards they can play on they can play in any order they want once they completely score any of those sections. Now, once all the players reach the end here, over here, they have a choice. The first player who gets there has a few actions they can do. They can play their person here and move any 2 resources up 1 space each, or 1 resource up 2 spaces each if they wanted to. Over here, if they went here, they can move their brewer up 1, and if they moved here, they could get 2 coins from the bank. Now, in a 3-player game, if no one is taking the first player action, the 3rd player who gets there has to take first player. They can't take the other open bonus action available to them. Once that's done, you're going to grab more resource tokens from the stack, and of course the stack of monks, and then restock the board. Now everything will double up, meaning if, let's say no one got any resources here or here, so the next time when I was dealing out resources, I'd stack them on top of each other. And when someone landed there, they have the option of buying both or just one of them. So they can keep stacking on certain areas. So can monks. Monks can also stack. The only thing that doesn't stack are the purple disc. If there's a purple disc already there, you don't double stack it. During the game, that's what you're going to be doing. Now, I should also mention these little fields here on your player board. You can't place any of these on there, and you can't place monks on there. What happens is when you completely, and let me completely surround this one. When you completely surround this, a few things happen. What you're going to do is you're going to stop and you're going to count all the numbers around the field here. So in this case it'd be 5, 10, 15, 20. That's actually a pretty good score. Monks would count 0, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'll explain why in a minute. So then I go to this board. I scored a 20. Well, anything 18 through 23 lets my brewer move up 1. So I'd move him up 1. And then I get a number 3 field token. So I'd take the number 3 and I place it over the middle here. Now as you see, there are these arrows on each one, meaning it's saying, hey, you can activate 3 different resources. And that means I could activate here, here, and here, or here, here, and here, which I may want to do. So that would give me $3, and then would give me 10 movements on my track here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Oh, really moving those resources up the track. You know, for lower ones you could only do 2 in any direction it says there, or for 4 you get to have, if you have something that's a really high score, 24 or more, you can score all of those tracks around the area. So heck, if this one would have been a 4 or a 5 right there, I could have played that 4 and scored all that again, which would have been big, would have been huge. Now, what happens if I get low points? Let's say there's just 1s and 2s that surround that field and a couple of monks that are worth 0. Well, that kind of sucks, right? No, because if you get 0 through, the lower the score you have, the more your brewer moves as well. So if I got 0 through 7, he could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and really start shooting up that track. So sometimes even low scores will get your brewer moving, which is what you want. So the whole game you're going to be going through here and grabbing and filling up your board full of monks and resources, and then of course scoring those to move your resources up the track or get money as well to buy more stuff in the game. You're also, if you land on any one of these barrel spaces here, you can claim as many of these barrels as you can. Now the barrels have different conditions on the board. The instructions basically tell you what each one does. It's very simple. But once you grab, you can only grab the one barrel once. So for instance, if I had the number 4 barrel here, the big barrel, I couldn't come back around and grab the small little 2-point barrel one since I've already grabbed the big one. And there's only 2 of each of these scores, so you want to kind of get these as fast as you can, because it's, first serve gets whatever they want. So first come, first serve there. Now at the end of the game, again, these will be worth victory points. The big barrel's worth 4, the small barrel's worth 2, and they can be worth a little bit more, of course, if you've unlocked one of your bonus cards. So the game ends when you get to the 6th round. At the end of the 6th round, you add up all of your little barrel points, and then you start adding up points on the board. Now let's say at the end of the game, my score basically looked like that. Okay, that's what my board did. Well, what you're going to look at is you're going to look at the brewer. The brewer says, hey, he's in this section, which is a 3-to-1 trade, and it's a ×4, which means every time I move any resources down 3 spots, I'm going to move another resource up 1. So let's try it here. White goes at 1, 2, 3. Brown moves up 1. After that, it probably wouldn't matter, but 1, 2, 3, 1, yeah, it's not going to matter there. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be going by the lowest resource score here, which in this case would be here. So that would give me a ×3. So 3 times 4 is 12, plus any barrels I have. And of course, whoever has the most bonus points at the end wins. Final thoughts, what do I think about the game? Well, first off, I should mention that I skipped something at the end. For every $10 you have left over, you can cash that in and move one of your resources up 1. That's another way to move resources up. Anyway, so what do I think about this game? Well, folks, I saw this game at BGG SpringCon last year. We were waiting in line. It was a really long line. It wasn't going to open for another 2 hours or 3 hours, and people brought this game, the people in front of us, and they played it, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm interested. This looks kind of interesting. And I was watching them, play. I was thinking, no, this looks kind of boring. No, I quickly lost interest, and me and my nephews started playing other games that we had gotten. And I don't know what it was that turned me off on this game, but a viewer who I trust said, Matt, you really ought to try this game. And I said, oh man, I didn't like it the first time I saw it, but let me give it another look. And on the second look, I say, oh yeah, this is a great game. And boy, is it a great game. There are so many decisions. And even if you fall behind, like I fell, the first time we played this, I had no idea what I was doing, and I fell way behind. Then eventually I caught back up and got the hang of it, and I think I did eke out a win or barely lost. I can't remember what it was. But either way, though, there's no runaway leader here like you would think it would be. Of course, yes, you can mismanage your funds and totally just wash out. But a lot of great decisions in here, and that and you'll fill out that board. You say, oh, I'll never be able to fill out this board in 6 rounds. No, you'll be able to do that. You'll think, man, money is tight. But as you start building those combos and and activating those little sheds and everything, and when you surround that area, there's just a lot of strategy there, and it started just popping for us all, and we're like, whoa. And we all agreed this is a game that you need to play more than once to really enjoy it, because the first time you're just realizing all the possibilities that you did not take, and so the second time you know it a little bit better and better, and that's how it's been with us. Heaven and Ale, what a fantastic game. You should definitely look into this, and if it's your cup of tea, definitely pick it up. All right, gamers, that's all the time I have for now. Until next time, game on.